much. Amazing. I'm looking forward to this. In the bottom left, we got the blue Protoss for Alpha X. He is Astrea.
And in the top right side, we're looking at the main base of our North American Terran player. It is Future.
There's always a bit of a question mark as to how much Future is dedicating to his practice of StarCraft, and that sometimes is what explains some of those really dramatic dips like last season. As he's been kind of vocal about it before, like not really sure if he wants to go full time or he wants to always be kind of prepared to move into what a lot of North America is, which is part-timers. You know, I mean, the reason that we have Scarlet Neeb and Astrea as are the best right now for this region is because yes, they're very good, actually very experienced as well, right? But also because they also are full time, which you can't say very much for a lot of the other players. So it's almost like, I don't know, like an extra badge of honor if Future actually takes these guys down sometimes, because yeah, I think he is always wondering how much he really wants to put into StarCraft, and if you can take down Astrea, get further in these playoffs, then it just reinforces that he can do this.
Would be a real inspiration for all those other nerds out there as well. Even if you have a side job, you can still get to the top, just like this man. I'm looking forward to it. So far, everything is very standard. We see a Reaper fast expand on the side of Future. Astrea scouted to make sure that nothing funky was happening, but Oxide, nothing funky is happening. Do we have Pillars of Gold in this Best of 5 map as well or not?
I did not look. I think we have a way to check it though. I'm gonna look for it. You keep talking.
And now you go ahead and look for it, because I would find it really funny, because to me those two maps, especially in this matchup as well, it's like, well, one time the push comes from the high ground, the other one is kind of straightforward. But other than that, I would do any build that I think is good on Pillars of Gold, and would also do on Oxide. This would make a lot of sense to me. Reaper does get into the main base, places a good grenade. It's gonna bump this Adapt away, so it will stay alive, but I have to admit, it didn't really see a whole lot. Now, the tag wasn't down, so that Reaper couldn't have possibly scouted the Twilight Council, but even if it really went into the back of the main base, still wouldn't have seen it yet. Yes?
I found it. I got it. It is Oxide, Romanticide, Pillars, Jagannatha, and Lightshade. Or, no, wait. That was actually, no, wait. That's not right. Well, I think it actually is right. It's just that they didn't reformat the Google Doc I'm looking at. Anyways, Pillars is guaranteed at least for map 3, I think.
Fantastic. So we play this. So we play the same map twice in the first 3 games. That's what you're telling me, Zombie Grub.
First map twice. Wait, what?
The same map twice.
Oh no. Are we? What?
Oh, Oxide and Pillars of Gold.
Oh, yes. Oh, I see. I didn't know that's where you were going to go when you opened up with it, but now I get it. They do share some similar qualities, don't they?
They're super similar, if you ask me. To me, they really play out the same way.
Yeah. So apparently, yeah, Oxide, Romanticide, Pillars, and then Death Aura, actually. But you know what? We're just going to assume that Pillars is actually in it. So that was a longer process than I thought it was going to be. Anywho, what have we gotten happening in this game? A Raven opener to a fast third after that blink. All right, then.
Yep. Everything is very standard. Future is dropping down 2 additional barracks already, so it seems like he is potentially gearing up for one of his future pushes with Stim, Combat Shield, +1. We know that those builds can be very devastating. The Ravens, sometimes they're nice as part of the main push, right? So you can land an anti-armor missile, but I actually think I prefer the Raven if it would just go into the main base, drop some other turrets. And while the Protoss is distracted, that's when you try to get a great fight with the bio.
I think that's what I've been seeing a lot of Terrans play with, and actually Future. It's immediately what I think of, is the harassment and the distraction. Astrea might have gotten a fairly quick third base, but he also got his gases set up in the natural, so he's going to be going into that robotics bay and not into charge and forge. So Future is going to want to scout that. That might happen with his Raven. So far he hasn't seen the gas of the natural, hasn't seen the robotics bay. Could just be anticipating one type of style when it's actually a bit different. Here comes the Raven now. Revealed, Astrea's got Blink, but no Stalker's really in position.
I'm gonna get a single auto turret. I wouldn't mind him. I guess he's super afraid that if he commits and then the Stalkers blink forward, he's going to lose it. So I guess Future is okay with just having it here for now. It's like, you know what, then at least I know your Stalkers are gonna stay at home. And that should allow me to walk to the other side of the map whenever I want to. I gotta say, I find this opening by Astrea, it's a bit of everything, right? Because on one hand, it's quick Colossus stack. On the other hand, it's kind of mass gateway, as we see more gateways go down as well. It just seems like he's like, instead of building a forge and getting upgrades on my Zealots, what if I just get a quick Colossus, but then still have a lot of gateway units? That kind of seems to be the plan here.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, whenever I think of Astrea, I think of some like pretty topsy-turvy games, but I also think back to like casting him in Challenger years ago. And at the time, it was like, well, this is a different take on Protoss. Let's see how it works. And to be brutally honest, it was kind of a disaster. But he's really fixed that. So while he still has a unique take on Protoss, it's definitely a lot better. The reasons he does it, I think, make a lot more sense. This a little scary though.
Yeah, if he goes immediately, Future shoots Stim here, right now, right before that battery is up. Couple of force fields go down, interference matrix land. But I actually think Future is just gonna take this first game. That Colossus was the lifeline of Astrea. Astrea did not expect this push to show up. I would go for the battery right now. You want to kill the battery, Future, and that's exactly what he does. What a fantastic attack by the Terran player.
That's not the start Astrea was hoping for. Not a reaction from him, but this would usually be considered some pretty game-ending damage. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, he's down by 6 workers, and if he can recover, he can replace those. His Future is not quite saturated his third base or even finished it, but can he actually recover? Colossus pops out. Force Field actually bringing the army closer to him. Might have been a mistake. 3 Marauders with a bit of a concave means that they could try and grab a few more units on the way out, but eventually forced to escape.
Save the medevac, and that's exactly what it does. I gotta say, Future handled all of that absolutely perfect, if you ask me. Even pulled off a little bit of fancy Marauder micro when the Stalker shots were trying to target down individual Marauders. But what I love the most, he's like, all right, this is my push. Can I do something? He scans, and he's like, the battery's not up yet. I'm going for it. Like, he didn't hesitate for a second. And that's what I love. Just clutch, decisive decision-making. And he got a lot of damage done there. I think at this point, he is in the driver's seat. Obviously, the game is not over yet. If you make like 1 or 2 bad drops, there's obviously a chance you throw away this lead. But you're not going to get much or many better starts than that one.
Nope. Grabbing economy, grabbing big, expensive, slow-building units, and even more after that. A lot of Stalkers went down as well. There's Astrea not being able to keep tabs on the army by chasing down that Raven and then not actually seeing the army, so he couldn't try and force field, which might have been his plan originally. So excellent maneuver there from Future, really starting off strong. That's what we're talking about, momentum-based. Generally, Terran is momentum-based, but especially Future. But at the same time, this is sometimes what ends up killing him. He'll get a good start. He'll carry with some good momentum. And then kind of towards like the more mid to late game section of this matchup, he'll just start making really hasty decisions, almost getting too caught up in his own victory. And they'll start throwing a bit too much here and there. So that's my question. Is he going to do that? Is he going to make that mistake? Or is he, I guess, matured as a player? He's setting up for a pretty big direct attack from third base to third base, while Astrea is setting up for a bit of a run-by.
Yeah, I gotta say, the timing on this run-by is perfect, though, by Astrea. Right when Future is moving out, but I feel like Future is just not gonna care. He's gonna look at that army, he's like, what? That's it? Well, fine, kill as many SCVs you want. I'm gonna try to kill this army. I'm gonna try to kill your Colossi. There is a Dark Shrine finishing up, so you gotta be a little bit careful with how many orbitals and how many SCVs you wanna lose. The super batteries are good, but are they this good, Zombie Grub?
You know, super battery plus a Guardian Shield. That would have fixed it. No, it wouldn't have. That's a lot of Terran firepower. Disruptor Shot tries its best to save the day, and Astrea might continue on in a bit longer for this game. A Warp Prism goes to the main, his Zealot's still denying a third, but losing his entire army, or close to it, plus losing his third Nexus, that's not going to be recoverable. It is the last stand right now. Things are a little bit hectic, but should go in Future's direction, just as long as it doesn't take a couple Disruptor Shots to the face.
Yep, all the tanks are very clumped up, so I'd like to see Astrea go for that, and he does land his first. Good Nova, he picks up the second tank as well, and he's actually going to get all of them and a couple of bio units as well. This Nexus should go down, though. I think as long as Future kills the Nexus, all of this was still completely okay. He lost a crap ton of SCVs at home, but hey, triple Orbital against two base Protoss, I still think you're okay.
Yeah, exactly. Astrea may have 62 probes, but he's not really mining with those. And in fact, are you just going to pull the boys? Okay, I was like, doesn't really work out against Terran so much, but you could try. 1-1 is going to finish up for Astrea. Another thing I guess he's looking forward to utilizing, but that just puts him at even with his opponent. That's on a lead. So really, it's the classic comeback maneuver. It's DTs and Disruptors.
Now that is obviously one hell of a wombo combo to make a magical Protoss comeback happen, but I feel like those comebacks often go with Protoss having slightly better upgrades as well, and that's not the case this time at all. It's 1-1 apiece, and I think that definitely favors the Terran player. There's not a single sentry out on the map at this point, so there's not going to be a Guardian Shield. I don't see any Zealots anywhere. It just seems like really Future's like, I'm going to try to end this, and Astrea's like, yes, I want you to end this, so I can potentially land my Dream Novas and turn this game around.
I am getting some flashbacks to some Astrea games versus, gosh, maybe it was Masa, I want to say. But anyways, he was so dead. I mean, honestly, just so dead. And he kept on barely surviving 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 times before just barely losing. He's definitely great in these positions. He's great at scrappy games, and he's great with these sets of units. And this didn't go as hot as he was imagining. DTs go down for 4 SCVs. So bought enough time for him. His disruptor count up to 5 now. Certainly has some potential.
I love that tank position. It's really hard for the Disruptors to get in range. I don't think these Novas are really going to get a whole lot done. This is all beautiful execution so far by our Terran player, who does end up losing a couple of buy units here, but he's got double the army supply. So even if 1 or 2 Novas do land in the center of it all, I don't think that's going to make the difference. I think at this point, not a single Disruptor could fire, so this could be the moment that Bio really wants to go for it. But Overcharge is going to keep the Protoss safe for now. I mean, Astrea is really good at surviving in it, and he often has these truly epic games. It feels that he can't win a normal game. It has to be epic.
Yeah, right. That Disruptor's going to go down. It doesn't really leave an opportunity for that one. Future could be counting the shots. You know, there's only 4 left over, and I think it's only 2 left over now. A couple of DTs grab a tank, and that makes it a little bit closer. Actually, off the left side, the Bio Army getting trapped by a bunch of Zealots. Right side almost getting hit by a Disruptor. Future's supply lead has actually been bridged here by Astrea. He's going to move in, try and take a good fight, take care of the tanks. One more Disruptor shot, going to go right for that Bio Army. A last-minute split was not really good enough, but here comes reinforcements for Future.
Yeah, that have already been stimming 3 times to the other side of the map. I think Future is actually getting a bit too carried away. He's flooding 1,000 minerals,
oh my God,
back as well. Stalker's getting blown up by the own Nova, I believe, there, right, in the end?
Yes, yeah, that's what happened. Oh my God. Oh, the timing on that was so bad for Astrea. It's the first time I've seen Astrea actually react. He knows he made a mistake. But, I mean, that
so
it's like no one kills Astrea but Astrea. Haven't we said that before?
I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but Future actually left a lot of bio units at home while he was making that push. At one point, I saw 8, 9. Oh my goodness, these stims are so crazy. Future, what are you doing? He's gonna eat a couple of massive Novas to the face, and just like that, Astrea turns this game around and still ends up winning it. That's unbelievable.
Oh no, that was I can't even begin to explain both of the reactions on those cameras. Astrea, I think, must be disappointed in his early game. He won, but it looked like he didn't win. And then Future initially smiling, I thought was going to take that in stride. I'm not actually sure he did. He knew he had a lead, and to let it go like that is very frustrating. Not a great start.
You know, not the final fight, but the fight before. Like I said, there were, without exaggeration, at least I think 30 supply of bio units stuck in the main base of Future. And I don't know if he left them there because he was super paranoid about a Neo Prism showing up, or if they were actually stuck because he raised the depots. So his push, the nice contain that he had with his tanks there, never got reinforced. And then obviously the moment those CTs came in from the left side, killed 2 of the tanks, all of a sudden it was like, this is kind of a beatable army. And then the reinforcements did show up, but those are some drug addicts, those Marines and Marauders, because they shut up like 20 HP, like, we're ready to fight. And it's like, well, I don't know if this is going to be much of a fight.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's too bad we didn't quite catch it, but that would have been, I mean, that literally makes the difference of that push just winning, even with some like miscontrol and what happened, which was eventually being pushed back and then losing more and then just losing out to those disruptors. I mean, that would even explain Future's, I feel like the last 5 seconds there could be explained by him realizing he messed up that much, right? And then just being like, oh, that's why I'm going to lose this game. Let's just lose the game anyways, which isn't the best mentality, but it does happen.
Yeah. Like let's say like that would stabilize there. That game was by no means all of a sudden over in favor of Astrea. Like, yes, he's getting a lot of disruptors and it's very difficult to play against, but it's not that he had 3-3 units. I know 2-2 was on the way. He had a good economy, but this was not a 5-base economy with static defense everywhere. Like, no, this was a Protoss that spent every penny he had on units and just trying to survive and weathering the storm. Fantastic job by Astrea, but I think you're spot on when you say that Future probably thought he had it. He wrote it in the lobby as well. He's like, how do I always end up with games like this? So unlucky. Well, it is what it is. We got to get ready for game 2. Let's hope that this man can keep his head calm. Looked great in the first 6, 7, 8 minutes. Hopefully he can continue that. It is Future.
In the top left, surprisingly, with that point on the board, he is Alpha X's Astrea.
I have to admit I'm very worried about this entire best of 5 for Future now, because what I said in the previous game I really stand by. I don't think you're gonna find many starts better than that one. You kill 16, 17 probes, you kill a Colossus, and it just feels that everything was going his way. Letting a game like that slide is A, hard to come back from, and B, it's really hard to get yourself in similar great positions.
I feel like it also makes you doubt similar positions too. You know, you're like, wow, I should be winning this game, but what if I throw again? It just doesn't help your mentality about how you spin it. I feel like Future sometimes sometimes he gets like supercharged by awkward games where he loses. Sometimes he comes back with a vengeance. And yeah, sometimes actually it does clearly negatively affect his mentality.
What?
Seems like in this game, he's going to try and change things up, but so is Astrea.
Is he going to build Void Race?
I think so. I guess.
Well,
oh wait, Future isn't going for a factory expand. He just went for a supply depot wall off to freak Astrea out.
Wait, why are there 2 SCVs under the refinery of Future? Can we take a look at the main base of Future real quick?
Oh, I've done that before. Oh, I hate that. You literally just click past the gas geyser.
Yeah, but don't you get the idle worker icon?
Yeah, unless he has it, even if he has it on hotkeyed, you would still see it. He's just not paying attention to it. This Marine actually sees the pylon, so that's some good news finally for Future. I was gonna say if he's gonna factory expand, that was the best news, but he actually wasn't. He was almost like faking one. But finding the pylon and being able to do this is the next best thing.
Yeah, it's gonna pull a whole bunch of SCVs, so I think this target is actually gonna have a very hard time finishing off, because this many SCVs do actually have a pretty decent amount of DPS. I really hope that he fixes those SCVs in his main base though. They're still not working, and that always hurts, but especially if you have 7 or 8 SCVs out on the map fighting pylons and preventing the Stargate from ever being powered. I actually think that Astrea should stop this though. Like this Stargate is not gonna go up. Like this Void Ray will not pop. There is an adapt, but there's no way, right?
I don't know, man. Apparently Astrea thinks that there is a possibility. There we go. Chrono's still in effect. Probe finally goes down, though, so that's the last pylon going to be built. SCVs are now taking care of the Adept. The last hit goes down. The Void Ray is going to pop. But, I mean, is one Void Ray going to be enough is the question. 5 Marines will be available.
Maybe
just the 4, actually. Just the 4.
4 Marines? Maybe the Void Ray wins
Void
that.
Ray,
It's very
please.
close. Nope, the Void Ray is gonna run away, and that means the Stargate will once again be unpowered. It does survive with 4 HP. You can't make this up. Welcome to NA. Proper Clown Fiesta. The 2 SCVs are still not mining at the back of the refinery. Future, you gotta fix this, mate.
Void Rays are such a clown unit, I swear. Like, every time I start to respect the damn things, I just watch them die to 4 Marines.
Without any upgrades, no stim, no combat shield, no attack upgrades.
Oh, man. Yeah, so the two SCVs, you know what's extra bad about this two SCV thing, Roddy, is that he actually pulled specifically SCVs from the gas geyser thinking, oh, I can't even use it, so I'll pull them with the attack. So he actually went back to his gas geyser, looked, and still didn't see that two SCVs weren't mining.
Mm-hmm.
And then he put them back on too, so he's looked like 3 or 4 times at that location.
Oh, it's very brutal. Astrea's like, nice, now I've got a Void Ray with 104 HP. What am I gonna do with this damn thing? There are a couple of adepts that are gonna try to be annoying in the natural, and I do have the feeling that Astrea, one way or the other, is still gonna get some value out of all of this and gonna get a somewhat decent start, because it's pretty obvious that Future is falling apart. The Cyclone did take care of the Void Ray apparently in the main base. Cheeky lock on, so the Void Ray is dead, the Stargate tech is dead. The SCVs are still not mining.
You're gonna have to keep a timer on that, you guys. Start the clock. This is, without those SCVs distracting us, I mean, I feel like it would be great for Future, but it with the SCVs, it kind of feels like, yeah, he's the one that's maybe going to make more mistakes. Maybe he's the one with more nerves. Mm-hmm. Astrea might not have a great start, but I think he is, again, used to some of these games, and as long as he has a plan, even if it's not a great plan, he has a plan, he's going to look stronger than someone who's kind of going, oh, I don't know, am I doing this right?
There is a hallucinated Phoenix, and I'm like, maybe that can reveal the SCVs to Future. This is so sad, because it really has a very big impact on your economy. For, you know, the first couple of minutes, you have like how many SCVs? 16, 18, 20? They represent more than 10% of the economy, but then if you realize that 8 SCVs were pulled, they start representing like 25% of your economy. That's, in some scenarios, that's like getting a brand new base. It is truly sad for Future that he didn't pick up on this. At this point, it starts hurting a bit less, because now, you know, the income is starting to skyrocket and both players make a lot of money, but Future should have been way further ahead than he actually is.
I love that the follow-up to this opening is a Disruptor drop.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it just seems perfect. It really does. If it was a Colossus, it'd be even more perfect, but it is a Disruptor. So, it's got to be the last thing that Future has on his mind. He has not gotten any scouting on Astrea's side of the map. The Cyclone looks like it might actually grab a sentry. It really shouldn't. It's so close to dying. Inky Shield Battery. But it still hasn't scouted the Robo and the Robotics Bay.
I bet at this point, Future's like, I don't even know what's going on in this game anymore. It's like, can you transition out of building that many pylons and avoid Ray on one base? Well, in a way you can. Like, normally you shouldn't. Like, going Blink right now, for instance, would be disastrous, because then you would just die by the time that the first push arrives. There's no way you even have charge in time. But Astrea managed to get himself in a pretty playable position. He's like, yeah, we're all tied up when it comes to the work account, which is not great for Protoss, but I can make magic happen. If I can win that game 1, I can win any game.
Oh, he fixed the SCVs.
Oh my goodness, really?
Oh.
Just now?
Yeah, I don't know when, but recently.
Yeah, I checked like 25 seconds ago. They were still chilling there.
Okay, so that was still a very long time that I have the mining. All right, Hallucination kind of leading the way. Not that Future knows this, but the Hallucination's going to tell Astrea, is it droppable? Confirm that yes, it is. The Marine is actually continuing on its way. Only going to be able to scout the Adept, though. Here comes the Disruptor. Future, are you paying attention? That's a no.
Oh, what a good shot as well. All the SCVs were just like clumped up at the mineral patches. So that's a really good start for Astrea. He now probably knows that Future wants to retaliate and immediately go for the counterattack. And I think at this point, all we have to really do is keep a close eye on this War Prism. Can it land one good Nova on these units that are trying to make their way to the other side of the map?
Well, it could try and do it now, or it could try and just come from behind later, right? Like, I mean, both would probably be possible if you could find an opening, but Future's really trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Oh, okay, not worth it. Yep, save the Disruptor. Oh, but then catching them in the choke was actually a really good idea. It didn't quite work out, but I love the idea from Astrea.
Astrea needs to start spending his money, though. He doesn't have that many units yet, but he's got a second Colossus in the mix. As long as these tanks are not sieged up, this Protoss army is going to do more than all right. The moment the tanks do siege, you got to be a bit more careful. The Observer has been so key, by the way, for Astrea. Keeping an army on, or keeping tabs on this army movement all the time.
Charge is about to finish. I think Astrea was tempted to pull the trigger there. Oh, the hotkeys. If that army hadn't loaded up in the medevac, the War Prism's dead. The timing is so weird in this game. And speaking of the medevac drops, they head into that natural. The tanks are going to try their best to cover them. They can only do so much, though, and it looks like it is going to cover them just barely. Oh, Colossus, please. so they can hit the Nexus. But with Colossus actually having range, it looks like it won't get very much more done here for Future.
There are Vikings right next to the War Prism. Sorry. Okay.
Oh my god,
there
you're right.
Go.
Oh my god.
War Prism does go down, but the Disruptor is like, cool, now I'm on the ground. I'll kill 4 Marines instead. Let's go back to the main fight. There is some potential here for Future. He technically has a pretty big army supply advantage, and these tanks are in a really beautiful position. The Stalkers don't have Blink, so I actually think keeping these Colossi safe against the Vikings is going to be a bit tricky as well. But Future needs some bio units on the ground to protect his tanks. Oh no.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was missing from the fight just 10 seconds ago was the Zealots on the low ground. He does try and fix that problem, but it still was a pretty good pick up there for Astrea. Now the main event, 2 tanks sieging up. Are they actually going to be enough? I don't think so. Astrea has a shield battery. He's barely going to save his Nexus. Both Colossus still alive. The Vikings going to try and get the last shot and not able to do so. Oh no. Good pullback there from Astrea.
I mean, Future did kill a lot of probes, though. I mean, he's up 6 workers, but he clearly is not even thinking about the next 10 minutes of this game. He just wanted the game to end. And he's like, damn it, what do I do now? My Medivacs are all out of energy. My bio army is already a bit beat up. And we've got a Dark Shrine finishing up. And a Dark Shrine against a 2 Orbital Command Terran is pretty damn fantastic.
I'm surprised he doesn't pull the SCVs like now. It looks like he's going to just lift his Orbital. Okay. All right, he's just repairing for now. Well, I gotta expect an SCV pull then. He got a 4th barracks, and then I was like, where's the 5th? Well, then he canceled the 4th barracks, and now he's gonna SCV pull? Well, I asked for it, and I got it, but it feels weird anyways.
Yep. Couple of DTs in the center. I feel like it's always so hard to all in a DT player, because you know you're going to lose everything at home. You may as well just raise the depots and leave a couple of units behind. Scan goes down in the center, but doesn't get the first Dark Templar. That's gotta hurt a little bit. And that was not the only scan. We've got 1 more scan available, and I expect that scan to be used real soon. As soon as this army is going to siege up at the bottom of the ramp one more time. There's still that battery. There's still battery overcharge as well. I mean, the Terran army is massive, but I kind of believe that this could be a hold, especially with the DTs in the mix.
He's got to be building a missile turret. I'm surprised he's not right now. He could build a missile turret in the back line and have at least some place to safely retreat to because his orbital command is under fire. Might have been a missed opportunity. He's going to continue pushing forward. He scans that 1 DT, but until he actually gets the Dark Shrine, it's going to be 1 DT, 1 DT, 1 DT, and Future's going to be down to 1 orbital. His second orbital is actually, it's burning down. A Disruptor shot gets the injured tanks, but they're still alive, still sieging up. Future now busting into Astrea's main. I don't think he can really spend time on his 3rd.
Look at this 1 Dark Templar sneaking through the lines, getting 2 tank kills already, trying to go for 3. 1 DT just killed 3 tanks. Oh my goodness, what is this? Okay, the final tank does get repaired. Scan goes down right before the missile turret finishes up. Apparently the depots have gone down in the main base of Future. This is an absolute clown fiesta of a game. Astrea right now, after killing 3 out of 4 tanks, he's like, you know what? Maybe I can fight this, but his army still kind of sucks and the Viking count is overwhelming.
That was not going to be a great fight there for Astrea. The Vikings free-firing with the lack of stalkers on the ground and just they're in good numbers, you know? And then none of the charge ups can get down. I guess none of the bio can get up, so the Vikings are left alone. Good pickup there. Don't see pickups on Vikings being crucial too often. The army supply is looking favorable for Future. He's going to dodge and then run back into the Disruptors. A little bit of a mistake. But is it going to be enough? The Disruptor was the key here, and it's now out of ammo. Just stalkers on even upgrades against Viking, Marauder, Medivac. I don't think it's going to work.
1 more Nova, and I feel like it's possible. I mean, obviously,
1 more?
A bit more firepower, but the Medivac's out of energy. Another Dark Templar gets warped in. That could be pretty brilliant, but scans are available.
Oh my god.
Spike going back, and he holds. Astrea does hold again. What are these games? How is Astrea up 2-0 when he should be down 2-0?
I cannot believe the Disruptor got the shot. Oh, he got an entire second Disruptor shot. He got the entire cooldown during that engagement. What a mad game. I mean, it's what I predicted. I was kind of hoping it would be a little more back and forth in the actual games, but we are dangerously close to having a 3-0 to start NA off. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll see if Astrea can do it or if these weird games finally go in Future's favor. The last game started off with a proxy Stargate that was found, destroyed. A void ray was pushed back by 4 Marines. And you know who won that game? The guy who made the void ray. Astrea's up 2-0 going into game 3 on Pillars of Gold.
Lost 4 pilots as well, trying to keep that Stargate alive, potentially get a second void ray. Didn't matter. None of it truly mattered, apparently. Oh my goodness. The amount of silliness now I've already seen in these first 2 games, like obviously there was a lot of things happening in that previous game and there were like little skirmishes everywhere, but my favorite part is when the War Prism was chilling behind the Terran army, waiting to unload the Disruptor. And I'm like, oh, and then I look at the right side of the screen and I see 2 Vikings flying in. I'm like, it's like, no, they just passed each other. And all of a sudden the Vikings are on like, you know, that's where the rally point was. And they're like, War Prism, boom. And then Astrea's like, oh my God, I'm getting shot at. So y'all listen to Disruptor, kills 4 Marines. I'm looking at how close that game was in the end. Oh, maybe that would have made the difference. I don't know. It's been entertaining, perhaps not the highest and cleanest quality of StarCraft 2, but it's been damn fun. What matters though for this man is he's now 1 map away from making it into the upper bracket finals of the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Winter North America. It is Astrea.
In the bottom left, also for Alpha X, he is the Red Terran Future.
Well, if I would have to give like a Player of the Day award, I would still give it to Future because he's already given me a lot of excitement and a lot of things to lose my mind over. And it's not always about who wins Zombie Grub. Entertainment matters too.
It's the friends we made along the way, Roddy. I don't know if Future made any friends, but hopefully he had fun. Didn't quite look like it. I actually felt I was a little bit scared out of the first game. It was a similar situation. He was up and then he ended up losing, kind of throwing, certainly. Second game, I feel like he actually kind of got like a bone toss to him, you know? Like it was like, hey, you found my pylon. He stopped my proxy Stargate. And Future must have been feeling over the moon after that. And yet he still throws that game too. I hate to use the word throw, but it's like...
Oh, no, they were trolls. If anybody has an issue with us calling those games trolls, then they don't know StarCraft, and that's okay. Like, we don't sit there and make things up. We're like, wow, this is like a really good start for Future, and then it's not. It's like, no. When we say it is, like, most of the time it is, you know? We don't get paid to lie.
No, but... Well, I think we get paid to try and analyze these games. It is very difficult to do so.
Yeah, Zombie Grub, please explain why did the Terran not win? Is Protoss really that imbalanced?
Well, that is the easiest reasoning, isn't it? Perhaps Astrea is just imbalanced. He seems to do this against a lot of different players, not just Future. And I mean, it's not even about like punching up or down. It's like Astrea just is the type of player who could, I mean, even get into similar positions against someone, I don't know, who's you know, semi-retired pro, and then he would bring it back. And then he plays against Scarlet, gets in a similar position, and also does the same thing, brings it back. He just, he's perfecting his game, but he is definitely capable of like eking out the wins, no matter how pretty or not pretty the game is. And Future is on the opposite end of this. They're not pretty, and he's not quite winning them out. Starting things off with the Zealot pressure, thanks to the Adept. Trying to actually help it out. I mean, a delay for sure, but the micro.
With the Zealot, it actually becomes like a proper delay. When normally it's just the Adept, I never feel like this is very successful. But now I can see why a Protoss player would do this. Yep, the Adept is going to get the kill on the SCV as well. Now the second Adept even shows up, and this is starting to become a little bit problematic, no? I think it's even going to be hard to keep that depot alive.
I think we have to accuse Astrea of bullying at this point. Like, he wins those 2 games and then opens up with an aggressive Zealot Adept pressure, gets the SCV, breaks down a supply depot. Future cannot be feeling very good about this game. He can't give up yet either, though. So he finally takes on the Zealot, won't quite get that second Adept.
I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't blame him. No, I know obviously in the players of DreamHack you're not supposed to do this, but this is a absolutely disastrous start. I actually would have liked to see those Adepts go all the way deep into the main base because there were no units there at all. Instead, the Adepts will chill on the low ground and pick up the Hellion, which is also pretty damn good. I mean, look at the worker count. There is an 11 worker advantage on the side of Astrea, and Future, his second base is not even done transforming into an orbital.
Not a good sign. But if if Astrea can bring back games where he's down in the early game, then Future can too. All right, I still believe. Future's gonna try and go for a 3 racks opener. Okay, just quickly into the 2 racks, right? Like no stopover on a Raven. Nah, he's gonna go for the Raven. That is gonna be scouted. Astrea actually going for a Stargate. He's gonna use his Phoenix first and foremost to get the build order going on here, and seeing no spinny tech lab is gonna figure that it is that Raven into stim combat shields.
Well, Ravens don't do very well against Phoenixes in general.
No.
Unless they somehow make it to the other side of the map, drop a couple turrets, and then you might get a few probes. But it's really damn hard to keep your Raven alive against Phoenixes, even if your army is there. Phoenixes deal double damage to light armored units, and Raven happens to be one of them. So it's borderline impossible. I actually think that Future maybe thought that Phoenix was a hallucinated Phoenix, right? He had no reason to assume why that wouldn't have been an hallucinated Phoenix.
It is very possible. It looked like it. You know, it was just used for scouting. Didn't try and do anything that they really ever could. And now that, well, it's apparent it's a very real Phoenix. Now, you can still try and use the Raven.
Not the Raven!
Yeah, I was gonna say you can still try to use the Raven, but usually what we see if someone has been either hoodwinked into going for a Raven, not realizing what their opponent was going to do, or just, you know, really like to play it risky, they would tuck that Raven into the back corner just to make sure it doesn't die. I mean, it's been revealed already, but just make sure it doesn't die. And then they would really try to baby it across the map and tag that Colossus. So I don't know, Colossus, only a handful of gateway units. The Phoenix hopefully can be taken care of when those Marines have timid combat shields. But it is such a, like, the possibilities I think are greater for Astrea to find and kill the Raven or punish the Raven or what have you than it is for Future to actually get the interference.
I would so fly my Phoenixes above those Marines. I don't care. Like, that Raven is super dead. That Raven should never live. Like, you can just indeed do this. Like, yeah, you'll never lose a Phoenix and you will always kill the Raven. Well done, Astrea.
Yes. Well, my prediction was correct. It is far greater chance that Astrea does that and gets the Raven than whatever Future was planning with it. It was just, I mean, it really wasn't great to go after the Observer. I mean, there's not even really a point to it, you know? Like, the Phoenixes are going to scout you if the Observer doesn't, if you're planning on doing a move out. So, the Raven should have been tucked in somewhere and taken a very odd path to even have a hope of participating in the battle.
Like, we can't really fault Future for anything in this game. The start was just absolutely horrible. Didn't see the Zealot that took a very cheeky route to the other side of the map. And then he just kind of always underestimated. He's like, can I fight? Can I fight? And it just kind of kept getting worse, right? It's a Zealot, and Adept, Zealot, Adept. And at that point, by the time he figured out how he wanted to deal with those 3 units, I think it was already a bit too late. Future knows that he is in a world of trouble. He does still have an army. This little bit of stim bio, but a couple of Marines getting picked up in the center. That medevac is just going to get picked up as well. And that army didn't even make it halfway through Pillars of Gold before Future decided to